Good evening, everybody. For those who are online, we're going to be starting in about 6 minutes. So we're going to go ahead in about 6 minutes and start. We have a few more who are entering into the conversation. And so just so that you know, I have begun recording tonight's session. And so it will be available if you'd like to watch it again. So I'll be posting that in your Blackboard course per practicum 1 or 2. So again, we'll be starting in about 6 minutes. Good evening, welcome. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, it's Mr. Wells. How are you?
Good, how are you?
And this is?
Kim Meany.
Hi, Kim. Good evening. We're going to be starting the meeting in about 5 more minutes. We have another 8 or 9 individuals who'll be joining us online this evening. So I see that you're calling in and you're not logging in, which is fine. So if you can give us about 5 more minutes, we'll start the meeting. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Yes, hi. It's Mr. Wells.
This is Kim again.
Hi, Kim. So we have 2 callers. Our new caller who just joined in. I'm sorry, you are?
Donna Mitchell.
Oh, Mrs. Mitchell. Good evening.
I'm online as well.
Well, there you go. Thank you. But, Donna, Mrs. Mitchell, we're going to start in about 5 minutes. We have a few
Okay,
more.
no worries.
Few more candidates are jumping in. Dr. Countley, good evening. I see you're joining us as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. Good evening, Dr. Countley. How are you?
Good, and you?
I am well. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be starting in a few more minutes, in about 3 or 4 minutes. Just so that you know, those who are on and listening, we are going to be recording tonight's session. It will be placed in Blackboard 1 or 2, and depending upon your course section, and made available as well upon request. Good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Wells. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm fine. And this is?
This is Valerie.
Hi, Valerie. Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Valor, we have a few more individuals who will be joining us this evening. I'm just waiting patiently. We have a few more. I'm going to go ahead and start our meeting in the next 2 to 3 minutes. And so if you could be patient, we'll jump on in the next few. Just so that you know that it is being recorded this evening. So the entire meeting is recorded. I'll be placing it in Blackboard depending on practicum 1 and 2, and also be made available at your request, which you could watch it through YouTube.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening. Welcome. I see we have another attendee. Good evening. Thanks for attending.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, this is Mr. Wells. I'm speaking to
Hi, Mr. Wells. This is Tina Fortunato.
Tina. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I
Hi.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tina, as I've told some of the other counterparts, your peers who are calling in, not logging in, that we're going to be starting in another minute or two, that it is being recorded this evening, the entire session. So if you could just be patient for another minute or so, we'll jump into the conversations and then present, obviously, the information to all.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us.
So my friend wanted me to take notes, but since it's being recorded, does that mean that you can go on Blackboard and watch or listen to it?
That is exactly right, yes. And I know that we have 2 or 3 peers who aren't able to attend this evening, and I did indicate that we'll be recording it. And you're right, we'll be able to either share it in your Blackboard course section and or through YouTube, and then you can I can email that to anybody who wasn't able to attend tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And in addition to that, the documentation that I'll be sharing in the presentation will also be emailed to all of you this after the presentation this evening, as well as an overview. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and I'll start at 7 o'clock. I know we have a few more who'll be joining us. I do know that we have 2 or 3 candidates who are not able to attend this evening. Completely understandable. It is a Sunday evening. Completely understand that. However, thinking that a Sunday evening is best for all, considering the fact that most of you also have classes during the week. So I greatly appreciate all of you spending the time. I promised I will not take more than about 45 minutes to an hour. As I did indicate, we are recording the session this evening. So those of you who are calling in, who could not log in, but who are calling in and don't have the visual, you'll be able to watch it again, obviously, if you so desire. It'll be either in your Blackboard section course and or I can also place it on YouTube for you to watch. In addition, the documentation that will connect to this evening's presentation will also be emailed to all of you. We are, it's a great turnout. We have about 28 participants here. I know that we have some faculty who have joined us as well. I know that Mrs. Donna Mitchell is with us. She is the chair of the MSE program. I know that we have Dr. Sandra Countley is with us this evening. She is one of our student teaching supervisors, but more importantly, she is also a year-long residency supervisor. Who connects with, guides, and facilitates those experiences for candidates during the academic year. So I appreciate all of you here. I'm going to jump right into the presentation. All right, so for those of you who cannot see, and those of you who have called in versus logging, don't worry, I'm going to walk through the slides that I'm presenting. We'll read them all, and again, they'll be provided to you after the meeting this evening. So I do want to welcome all of you this evening to our teacher candidates, those interested in the year-long residency option, our university advisors and faculty and supervisors who are with us this evening as well. About, well, I should say 2010, November of 2010, so now 7 years ago, NCATE, which is now CAPE, clearly identified that the teacher preparation environment was severely lacking a structure of quality preparation for candidates, i.e., what we're talking about here is a better, mechanism beyond student teaching, the way that we all might think it student teaching is, and moving into partnerships and collaboration with school districts and improving student learning through a co-teaching model. And so 3 or 4 years ago, we began initiated this idea of partnerships with school districts and a partnership approach to student teaching, which ultimately led us to the year-long residency. And so in the field now, currently, we are looking at a national strategy, a national initiative, and a national move, if you will, towards teacher residencies in various states within various school districts through institutes of higher ed, i.e. like Wilmington University Teacher Preparation Program. And so there are peers that like you who are interested in residency options within local school districts. And the focus of this change does come around this blue panel ribbon report by what was then NCATE, now CAPE. And of course, all of this, I'll be sending to you so you can review it and digest it. But it was very clearly identified that a redesign of instructional models, connecting mentor teachers and teacher candidates such as yourself in a collaborative partnership, a collaborative model, working together as teams, leading us then to the residency model. So for those who are calling in and not watching the screen, let me, if you can, bear with me as I read what the year-long residency is or is defined as. The residency option provides our candidates, Wilmington University teacher candidates, the opportunity to experience all facets of the entire school year while collaborating with peers and a team of high-quality mentor teachers. Underlying all facets of the school year, this is a full immersion model. You are a co-teacher. You are identified as a co-teacher, and as such, you will experience every single aspect of the school year. So if you can imagine, if you will, from attendance to transitions to, of course, instructing and teaching lessons, all of that is part of the responsibility of our teacher candidates within this full immersion model. Our candidates are provided the unique opportunity to explore the school year from the very beginning, the very first teacher day, to the end of the school year. And so what does that mean? It means you are part of not 185 contracted days, because that's what the teacher contracted days are for the state of Delaware. You're also there 1 week prior, which most teachers start 1 week prior to that contracted day. You spend the entire year there. And then at the end of the year, it's about a week afterwards where most teachers, mentor teachers, are cleaning up, closing up shop, so to speak, and preparing for summer and next year. The residency allows you, the intern, the opportunity to serve as the co-teacher in the classroom setting, mastering the teaching standards and expanding their techniques and strategies within the guidance of a high-quality Delaware teacher. Now, currently, within the residency, what we view as co-teaching, we focus on 4 main types. And so part of your responsibility, if you engage in the residency option, is to be the co-teacher and to engage in co-teaching strategies, co-teaching options within that classroom setting. We use, for example, the supportive co-teaching approach, or a one-on-one kind of co-teaching approach, a parallel that one person is teaching and one is observing and or assisting students. Team teaching, there are others that can be implemented within a co-teaching environment. We typically tend to utilize these main 4, but there are 6 or 7 in general. The idea here is that you are engaged as much as the classroom teacher is from day one. Our residency sites right now, as we have standing in the state of Delaware, are as follows. We have the Red Clay School District, Capital School District, Caesar Rodney, Appoquinimink, and Indian River School District. So for those, again, who are calling in, allow me then to go into more detail. In Red Clay, we have Ritchie Elementary School and Shortledge Elementary School. Ritchie was our pilot school 2 years ago. In Capital School District, we have North Dover Elementary. North Dover has been the pilot school starting 2 years ago. Caesar Rodney High School at the Caesar Rodney School District. This is a new school for us. It is also at a different level, at the secondary level. So this is a pilot year for Caesar Rodney. Appoquinimink School District, we have Cedar Lane Elementary. That is a pilot school for this particular year. And at Indian River School District, we have East Millsboro Elementary. That has been the pilot school since 2 years ago as well. And I did leave out Skyline Middle and Red Clay. I apologize. So we do have a variety of settings across the state. We are interested in moving into obviously the elementary, but more so the middle and the high school as well. So we can support all various programs. Now, before we jump into an open forum conversation, Q&A, so to speak, I do want to highlight two more areas before I then leave it open and open up the floor to all of you, because this is I feel a very important component of the conversation is to answer your direct questions. The alignment, if you will, the coursework that you still have to take as a requirement for our program and also for licensure and certification via the state of Delaware. You as a candidate still will register for Practicum 3 in the fall setting, and also your methods coursework in the fall setting. So fall 2017, candidates would register and enroll for Practicum 3, and you would register and enroll in methods courses. However, you would not come to class at the university for the fall semester. Your mentor teacher, your assigned year-long residency mentor teacher, they will facilitate the competencies and benchmarks that are connected to those particular courses at the school site. So if a candidate, for example, was placed at North Dover Elementary and Capital School District, and with the assigned mentor teacher, that candidate would experience all the competencies, all the benchmarks, all the standards associated with those courses via that mentor teacher at the school. So you would not have to come to university for the fall, and as you can imagine, that replicates itself in the spring semester where you would sign up for student teaching. You're still registering for student teaching, and your clinical assessment course, in which those two courses, competencies, standards, and benchmarks, are facilitated and guided by your mentor teacher. Our last area of presentation on my end before I open up the floor for everyone would be then what is that you have to have in preparation for fall semester to participate at a minimum at the entry level to state your intent of interest is the following. You must have at least the minimum passing of Praxis Core or Praxis 1 or Core. Obviously, the majority, if not, obviously everyone who is here present has passed Praxis Core, or you would not be engaged in Practicum 1, or Practicum 2, that is, as well. Praxis 2, content-specific examination, must be completed between now and the summer months in preparation for the fall semester of the start of the year-long residency. You would, of course, submit by the fall renewed criminal background check, tuberculosis, PPD, a child protection registry, and a health authorization form. Those things are the entry level, just the initial requirements that we would have before we would get into the specifics of how a candidate is identified and then selected, which I will get into. But before I get into that component moving forward, does anyone have any questions so far as to the structure of the year-long residency, the school sites, or your initial requirements?
I think I have a question.
Please, thank you.
So,
And may I have your name?
It's Tina Fortunato.
Thank you, Tina. On my screen, it only says wireless caller. It doesn't tell me who you are. So thank you, Tina. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. This year-long residency, what is the other option if you don't do the year-long residency? Because you have to do student teaching for, I think I would have to do student teaching for a full year. So what is the other option other than doing the year-long residency?
That's a great question. So what are the options connected to your clinical experiences or your clinical coursework? So everyone here this evening has to complete Practicum 1, Practicum 2, Practicum 3, and student teaching. Those are the requirements of your program, right? No matter if you're in the undergraduate K to 6 middle level, or you're an MAS secondary ed student, or even an MSc candidate. Those are the clinical components. Now, how is that constructed, and how is it different, obviously, than the residency? A traditional pathway would be, as such, this semester, the majority of you, not all of you, but the majority of you are in Practicum 1. Then next semester you would take Practicum 2. The semester following, usually the fall, would be Practicum 3. And then the next semester, and in our setting here, let's say spring, would be an 80-day student teaching placement in an assigned school that is aligned to your program and content area. So if I was a traditional candidate not interested in the year-long residency option, I would follow that formula of Practicum 1, one semester, Practicum 2, next semester, Practicum 3, the third semester, student teaching, 80-day placement, the fourth semester. The difference, obviously, with the residency is then the Practicum 3, the methods courses, student teaching, clinical assessment, is all done within that one academic year. Does that make sense, Tina?
Yes. Yeah, I understand.
Thank you. That's great. So, that's a great question as well, because not everyone obviously is on the same pattern of this fall, next spring, this fall. But that is something unique to individuals which we could work with. Does anybody else have any additional questions?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any year-long residencies in New Jersey.
It's a great question. So I actually have, and I don't know if one of my students is here, Erica Schaefer. Erica, I don't know if you're online this night or not. But a candidate in Practicum 1 is very interested in conducting a year-long residency in New Jersey. And I am, oh, hi, great, Erica's here, great. she IM'd me. So Eric and I are going to be looking at Quinton Township, Pennsville, Pennsgrove, I believe, and those districts are interested in having residency options with our candidates. It would take though action now, knowing that if a candidate such as yourself is interested in a New Jersey residency, we would need to take action now in preparation for fall, because quite frankly the steps necessary really follow this, and this is very fast and not detailed, but just to give you an idea, have to meet with the superintendent of that school district. We have to meet then with the appropriate grade level administrator, depending upon your program of study. If you're an elementary, obviously you have to meet with the elementary school principal. We have to select the mentor teacher. Typically, the administrator and the university work together and identify that mentor teacher at that school site. There is professional development that is given to the mentor teacher, and making sure that we identify high quality mentor teacher. And what does high quality mean? It means that's an individual who is not just good, an excellent teacher, but they are also good at mentoring and guiding someone, i.e. a candidate, through the experience. And that's a big difference there. I may be a great teacher in the classroom setting, however, I may not be a good mentor to another adult. And so there is a process there, as you can imagine. So if there is interest in Jersey, I know Erica is very interested, and I'm working with her and also the placement coordinator, which many of you from Jersey may know, Mrs. Teresa Carter, and we would be interested in moving into that area for you. But we would need to know very soon, i.e. sometime in the next couple of days, quite frankly. But you'll receive an email from me as to what next steps would be. But that's a great question. And yes, to answer it very quickly then, on the flip side is, yeah, we are very interested in moving into New Jersey, Maryland, and also PA. And I see that there are interested in Cecil County for year-long. Absolutely. Now, there is no guarantee, and this is also, as I've told Erica, we can request, but a district can also deny. There are a lot of reasons for that as well. Some districts and some areas are not ready to move forward with such a model. It is very different. This is very unique. The full immersion type of model is not one that is done very much in the surrounding area, meaning on the eastern seaboard, I only know of one or two other institutes of higher ed that have a model such as ours, a full immersion medical model, if you will, of student teaching. So, and I see we have some questions coming up, so let me, if I can, have one from Kim. If we have to take summer class, would we still qualify for the year-long residency? Yes, of course. We do not expect you to stop taking courses over the summer. You want to try to get us all the other courses that are not within that framework of Practicum 3 and methods and assessment and student teaching. You want to get them done now and into the summer. And if they do not offer the course over the summer, would I be able to take it in the fall and still do the year-long? Of course, we would work with you. We would work with candidates, and we would provide opportunities for you to take the coursework. Are there additional questions?
Heather, I have one.
We have just one at a time. Please, go ahead. Please, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. So you're talking about adding other schools. Is there any chance that other districts in Delaware would be added before the fall? For example, I'm really interested in Milford School District. Is there any way that there would be an opportunity there for next fall, or is that not a possibility?
Yes, it's an excellent question, and it really does relate to the number of participants, interested individuals that we have. Milford is a good question. They are responsive. They are a connected district. We work with them, obviously, and we place candidates. Would they be willing to participate in a year-long residency? I would assume they would. That would be something that I would speak to the superintendent and the director, the HR director, Dr. Paul Walmsley. The issue is, though, are other sites such as North Dover. We do have at least 3 mentor teachers that we do need to ensure that we place candidates there. If we meet that, if you will, benchmark, if we meet that fulfillment, if that we meet those promise to those mentor teachers, then we would be willing to look at other school districts.
Okay.
So the answer is not no. And of course, the other side of this, and it's a great question, again, even in Delaware, Not all districts are progressive or ready to make this unique challenge or change, if you will. But it's a great question. I have another one. How many students get accepted into this year-long residency? Kelsey, that's a very good question. The year-long residency is not restrictive. We as a university are not going to tell someone that they cannot participate unless they don't meet those initial requirements. For example, if you don't pass Praxis 2, sadly we can't move you into the year-long residency. That's a requirement for student teaching as well. However, we're not restrictive in nature because we do believe that this model is the most beneficial model to candidates. Now, have we gotten to the level with candidates being interviewed by mentor teachers and the mentor teachers decide that the candidate is not a good fit? Yes, that has happened. And if that does happen, then we have alternate options, meaning there are various schools such as Cedar Lane and Appoquinimink, North Dover and Capitol, possibly another school opening up in Cape Henlopen as well, in East Millsboro. We're looking at the Colonial School District at Eisenberg Elementary as an example, possibly as well. And so if the candidate and the mentor teachers don't technically fit well, i.e. a relationship, then there are ways to go to other sites and be interviewed for residency. So do we turn anybody down? We started this program in 2014. That was our first year. We had 9 students who were interested. And then in 2015, we bumped that up to 11 students who were interested. 2016, where we are right now, we have 22 students who are engaging in the residency. So the reason why is the question. Why in over just 3 short years we've increased the number of candidates? First and foremost, this is about bettering yourself as an individual candidate for teacher performance, for perfection of your craft, to become a better teacher. Second, imagine this as year-long on-the-job training. Third, it's year-long on-the-job interview. We have 100% positions filled by all of our candidates.
Wow.
So the first 9, all were hired. The second 11, all were hired. We do not see that pattern changing from these 22. Where we're focusing our efforts and our energies are here is that what you're experiencing makes you a day one ready teacher. So when you've graduated and you've completed the program and May and June you're walking and you're done and you've graduated, that next September you as an individual are already 1 year in advance of all the other new hires who have just gotten out of universities. That's where the benefit is. But another question comes, when will we know where we're placed for the year-long residency, and when do we interview? That's a great question. And I'm going to, if I can, Kim, just postpone that question for a moment because it's actually something I do have on our list to talk about. I just wanted to have any additional individuals who have any questions, please.
Yes, I have a question. This is Tina Fortunato speaking.
Thank you, Tina.
So a year-long residency, I'm just kind of curious if any of my other peers that are listening to this or that are interested in it have the same concern as me. I have a full-time job currently, so I would have to quit my job, which I'm a teacher's aide during the year, during the school year, quit that so that I could do a year-long residency somewhere else. It's obviously not a paid internship. Anybody else having concerns, or what have people done do they quit their jobs, or does their job understand they're going on a residency for their schooling, or not sure how to feel about that.
No,
not having income.
No, it's you. You are addressing probably, Tina, the most influential component of the program, um, the financial component, if you will. Yes, you are working in this particular school as a co-teacher for almost 200 days, right? From the start of September until May. All of the 22 candidates who are in these schools right now are not working. They cannot work Monday through Friday. They are there
Right.
Monday through Friday. So I have, for example, one candidate. He is at a middle level. He's at Skyline Middle. He is a father of two. His son was just born in August. Wife is working. He is, though, completing his graduate program, completing the year-long residency, not working, yet doing what he can on the weekends to obviously make payments, bills, and so forth. You are right.
Right.
It is a critical component. So this is unfortunately something that the university is addressing through various means. There's no doubt about that. Immediately, fall 2017, as possible candidates, would you be working as you complete the residency on the weekends? Yes, that is something that one could do. But when you look at the level of work that is associated within the co-teaching environment, one cannot work. And typically, where we have found the most the most candidates who have just said, I love this option, it's wonderful, I wish I could do it, but I cannot afford, right? I cannot afford to not work. And they choose not to participate in the option. And we understand that. So we're in the midst of communicating to legislators. I'm working with the Department of Education, districts, and so forth to establish means where there is paid residencies. But that will be a very difficult battle, and is proving to be a difficult battle, but one that will not be ready for the fall 2017 candidate base. So I do not want anyone who is listening tonight to feel that there is a paid internship. It is not. This is your year during this residency within that assigned school.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Now, the only flip side of this, if I will, and that's probably not the best way to say it, but for what's coming to me on a Sunday night, is if anyone who is here this evening, a para-educator, or working, as you say, Tina, maybe in a school setting, there are possibilities of partnership, and I'm very, very cautious in saying that, because that is a district level agreement to allow a candidate to complete a program such as this while they are working. Okay, so please know, if you're interested, Tina, I would be happy to speak to you more about a para-educator partnership if you're currently working full-time with a school district. But that would be something that we would have to be very unique to the individual, i.e. such as yourself. Okay?
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up so I could be in touch with you.
Oh, and myself, and also Mrs. Mitchell as well, who's the program chair for the MSE program. So another question, is this basically one more year financially tuition, or can you use financial aid possibly? I think, Kelsey, is the question. Yes, absolutely. You may utilize financial aid. We have candidates who are utilizing financial aid because you're still registering for courses. You're still registering and enrolling in those required courses that are part of your program. So they are still courses, i.e. that are on your transcript that you could use financial aid for. I have one more question. William Wise, will there be placements in Maryland secondary schools such as Worcester County by fall 2017? Bill, as I know I emailed you before, we're definitely looking. I can't promise anything, but certainly would be interested in reaching out and communicating to the Worcester School District if the possibility is there. Will you be offering more option for middle school besides the one site? Yes, Alicia. It depends on where your location is. So, if you're Newcastle or more Kent County, absolutely, we would be willing to look at those different options. Does anybody have any other additional questions before I get into the next steps of the year-long residency, which is interview, selection process, and so forth?
I just have a clarification. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Please, go ahead.
Just to clarify, there is not a limited number of spots available. Is that correct?
No, not at all. In fact,
Okay.
that's something we've tried to continually tell advisors, that this is not a limited or this is not a selective process. We try to keep this as open as we want. I mean, in fact, we want more candidates to participate because we know how powerful this program is. So yes, it's not like there are 5 slots or 10 slots no, not at all. The promise is very clear. If candidates such as yourselves are interested and are willing to dedicate to the year-long residency, we will then ensure that you have a site and a residency to engage in.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
that was my question as well, because I was under the impression that it was more competitive and application-based.
No,
I was under that same impression, yeah.
No, and thank you for bringing that up. And please don't hesitate to share that with your peers as well. The only area in which it is selective is by the mentor teacher, and we should probably get into that because it is already 7:30. Let me move into that quickly. For those who are logged in and can see versus those on the phone, let me read this screen. Candidate selection process. A, you meet all the requirements. Well, what are those requirements? That's Praxis Core, the clearance requirements, initial review by myself for your transcript, making sure that you have all the coursework aligned. Okay? Now, you will have the opportunity to go out to the various sites that you are interested in. So let's say, for example, you're an elementary candidate, you're interested at Ritchie or Shortridge Elementary as an example, you would have the opportunity to go out and visit those school sites. Visit the year-long residency candidates that are already there with their mentor teachers. Ask questions of the mentor teacher, ask questions of the residency candidate. Get to know the school, get to know the feeling of the school, the culture, get an understanding of what the school is all about. Now, after your initial meeting, then comes the interview process. Now, this is where it's not selective, and that's not really the term I like to use. This is based upon a relationship. You're going to have to imagine the following. You're going to be in a classroom for one full academic year with one person, this mentor teacher. Now, if the two of you, at a minimum, don't have the ability to connect at a professional and quasi-personal level, we all know the relationship will not be strong enough for that entire year to last. That is a critical element of the year-long residency. Now, we have been very fortunate to identify mentor teachers who are not only experts in the classroom, but they are phenomenal mentors. And they are willing to know that just the interview alone is not the essential component to a relationship. But it does give them the opportunity to get to know you so that they can identify if you're going to be a good fit for their classroom with them for the entire year. Have we had candidates who have gone through the interview process and not been selected? Yes, I think I said that. Yes, they have been. And we found another site, and they interviewed and were accepted in, and have done extremely well in those settings. So, again, selective is not the term I like to use, but it is one in which you have to have a good fit with the mentor teacher. Because would any of you want to spend 200 days with an individual that you did not have a good fit with and or did not have a good relationship? And of course the answer is no, none of you would want that. Now, after the interview is completed and the candidates are identified and they're assigned to their respective sites, we must go through professional development between typically the months of February, March, and a little bit into the summer. And what is professional development? It actually falls into a variety of buckets or variety of categories. One is co-teaching. We need to prepare you to be good co-teachers. We need to connect you with the activities and the assignments and the expectations of Wilmington University. And then we also, you and the mentor teacher, go through professional development as well to solidify your relationship in preparation for summertime. For fall. I apologize. So what does this time frame look like? Again, for those who have called in, let me read the screen. In November, now, information is sent to interested candidates. Right now, we have 30 individuals who are online this evening. That is a great number. Now, I will send to all of you after this, well, actually, I'm going to ask a favor for you, but you'll email me, actually, and I will reply, sending you detailed information, additional documents that will connect you with the next step, which is between December to January into February, are the school site visits. That's where you'll actually go out to visit the school sites. We make those arrangements. We connect to the principal and the mentor teachers, and they allow you to come in and visit and walk through and ask questions. Between February into March, we do interviews with the mentor teachers and yourselves. And then April to June is the professional development, mentor-teacher connections, planning and preparation for fall 2017, and of course, the preparation for the academic school year. So, this probably has additional questions connected to it, I'm sure. So let me stop here. I have one already. Kim has asked, if I have already been at the school site and met with the mentor teachers, do I need to go back? No, Kim, that's not necessary. If you've already met the teachers and you know the school, it's not necessary for you to visit that particular school. My suggestion, though, would be is if there is another school that you know that aligns to your program of study, it would be good to visit that school as well, just so you see the differences in the school structure, the culture, the diversity of children, and so forth. Please, are there questions?
I have a question.
Thank you, Kelsey. Go ahead.
I'm early childhood education, so I'm kind of limited, I guess, in elementary. But my main goal would, I know this is picky, but would be first or second. What if one of the schools I'm interested in doesn't have a mentor teacher that's first or second grade? What if it's third grade and I don't fit?
No, you're in luck. You are absolutely in luck. Okay. And so, all of our I have to turn the cell phone off. Sorry about that. all of our elementary school sites have K and 1, 2. I mean, we have mentor teachers within that structure of that birth to second grade, that K to 2 structure. So you're fine, Kelsey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Caitlin said, you said earlier that you're working with Cape School District for Yearlong. Yes, we have conversations beginning already with Cape Henlopen School District, Caitlin. They are interested. I am not 100% sure if they are ready for fall 2017 or fall 2018. That is up to the district. But I am working with them now.
I have one last question.
Please, go ahead, Kelsey, and then I know we have someone else. Go ahead.
How many mentor teachers per school are there?
Oh, that's a great question. So this is a flexible response. For example, right now at the middle and the secondary level, we are piloting at Skyline and we're piloting at Cesar Rodney High School. So at Skyline, we have 3 candidates with 3 mentor teachers. At Cesar Rodney High School, we only have 1 candidate who is going through the program there. And so as we're piloting the secondary and middle level, the flexibility could be from 1 person to 3 people. As we go to the elementary level, the minimum typically is 3. There's about 3 candidate. I'm so sorry. There's 3 mentor teachers, 4 mentor teachers. We usually have more elementary level candidates interested in the residency option than we do middle and the secondary level. So right now across the board, at, say, Shortledge and Ritchie Elementary, North Dover Elementary, East Millsboro, and Cedar Lane Elementary, there are 3 mentor teachers at that elementary at each site.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I know we had another question.
Yeah. So you said that if like you didn't get accepted by the mentor teacher at the school that you wanted, you could find another placement. But in my situation, I would want East Millsboro because that's the only school that's anywhere near where I live. So what would happen if either the spots filled up or if they decided I wasn't a good fit?
Now, East Millsboro is a unique situation. We have 6, almost 7 mentor teachers who have gone through the training and professional development to be year-long residency mentor teachers. So it would be a far stretch and cry for an individual not to be accepted at East Millsboro because of lack of mentor teachers. If, though, we needed to expand, Indian River School District is very interested in increasing the number of candidates at various levels. For example, Long Neck Elementary is interested in becoming part of the year-long residency. Their middle school is very interested in becoming year-long residency. So I would not let that worry you. I would not let that worry you at all.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. I have a question related to that question.
Sure.
What if, will we be able to voice our preference for 4 grades, or how does that work?
Sure. During the interview process, the mentor teachers are going to very clearly, they're going to ask you very direct questions. They're going to ask you questions that revolve around your academic beliefs, your philosophy of education, but they're also going to ask you questions about yourself. They want to know about who you are, what are your pastimes, what are your hobbies, who you are as an individual. They will absolutely ask you, what grade level would you prefer? And that is when you would be very clear saying, I would rather have 1st grade, or I'm okay with kindergarten through 3rd, or I prefer the upper grades, between 3rd and 5th grade, so to speak. And that's where you would have your opportunity to clearly identify the grade level in which you would like to work with. I would say this, though, being very cautious as a past administrator, obviously teacher, administrator, that you do not want to pigeonhole yourself into a particular grade level as an as an individual. And I will say this as a past administrator, as a K to 6, your ability will be to work K to 6 no matter what. And as the jobs open up at the district level, you're going to be employed in a position where the job is, not where you want to be placed. And so I would be and I'm not saying that, please, I hope I'm not being offensive. My goodness, please don't take that the wrong way. But I'm saying
No,
it's,
okay.
I'm saying it so that you as an individual, yes, get to say, yeah, I really like kindergarten. I like the earlier grade levels. And that's appropriate. Please let me say that. That's appropriate. But also be open-minded to the fact that this is a unique opportunity to work within all grade levels, because part of the year-long residency does allow you to rotate among the mentor teachers during the year and get to see different grade levels in practice. Yes, you are assigned to one teacher, and yes, you'll work with that one teacher all year round. But you get the opportunity to go into, let's say if I'm at a kindergarten level, I get to go to the second grade, and I get to go to the fifth grade, and I get to sit and observe and actually teach lessons and engage with those mentor teachers, because it's a team. See, this is the difference. This is the difference than the traditional student teaching venue. You're all by yourself with one mentor teacher for all 80 days. In a residency or in a partnership, you're with a team of mentor teachers working together. Now, for example, our friend at Caesar Rodney High School who's with one mentor teacher, yes, he's assigned to one mentor teacher, but he's actually getting to work with the entire team at the high school in his content area. So he's still based in a team setting. So that's the uniqueness of this particular program. And that's all I'm saying, is just be open-minded. So I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't offend you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, that's fine. I just didn't know if they kind of choose what they think is best, which I'm sure is what they do, but I didn't know if we were just able to say, oh, we do prefer, either K through third or kind of third through fifth. If we were able to say
absolutely. Yes. You absolutely get to say that, because ultimately it is true. I mean, for example, myself, I taught kindergarten for 6 years. I've taught second grade. I like the K1, 2, 3-year-old. That was my thing. I enjoyed that age range and those grade levels before I moved into administration. So sure, you could ask me, what did I like working fourth and fifth graders? Yeah, they were great. But what did I really love? I loved kindergarten. I loved first grade. I loved second grade.
Right.
But as a teacher, I'll work wherever you're going to hire me.
Right.
So,
yeah. Right.
So very good. That's a great question,
Okay.
though. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Are there any others?
Yeah, I have
Please.
a quick question. This is Tina Fortunato again.
Sure, Tina.
If I am getting, I'm kind of undecided, but if I was getting my Delaware license, do I have to do my residency in Delaware? Same for New Jersey. If I decided to get my New Jersey license, do I have to do student teaching or residency in New Jersey?
No. You are completing a Delaware program, even though you may do student teaching in New Jersey or a residency in New Jersey. You're completing a Delaware program, and as such, you will receive and obtain Delaware licensure certification, which then, in the state of New Jersey, you would have reciprocity. Now, that's something, Tina, specifically I would communicate to Mrs. Mitchell, who is also obviously on the line, and reach out to her regarding your program of study, your content area, and the reciprocity between New Jersey and Delaware upon graduation completion of your program, because that is an extremely good question. But boiling it all down, at the end of the day, you're completing a Delaware program for Delaware licensure. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Gotcha. Thank you so much.
All right. No, absolutely. Please, additional questions.
How much does past experience come into play here? Like, for example, I don't have a lot of experience in the classroom. Is that going to work against me?
No, not at all. This is what this program is all about. If Mr. Al D'Amedio was on the line, and I don't know if he's with us this evening, he's the director of teacher prep, he would call this on-the-job training. So it doesn't matter if you're in practicum and your peers are with you are all in practicum 1, or maybe you're not. This is all about practical application. You're implementing and learning and growing, and this is what it's all about.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? If I can then, in summing this up, as I see that we're getting close to the 8 o'clock hour, the interviews, we would assist you, we would prep you, we would provide you the information and the details as to what to bring, how to dress and those types of things. Each one of these dates from today to the next 2 to 3 weeks, as to providing you details and information, to going out to the school sites. If you clearly are interested in this option and it is what you want to do, I then become your direct advocate and work very closely with you in making the connections happen, if you will, between yourself, the school sites, and the process that is all within the year-long residency. So what I would say to all of you is, if after this evening, this is something that you are interested and want to do and are willing to move forward, and I will preface the next couple of sentences with this. If you are that dedicated in knowing that this is the program or option for you because of the impact that you will make, not for Wilmington University, not for the mentor teacher, and even though this is for you, the student, it is about the K-12 student that you will be spending an entire year with. If you are dedicated to that notion, if you are willing to say that I am dedicated to work with an individual group of students, K-12, for an entire year, then I want you to email me after tonight's meeting or tomorrow, telling me very clearly, I participated in our session on Sunday, I'm interested in the year-long residency, please send me the next steps, please send me the next detail. And that will be my notice, my red flag, to then identify you as a candidate for fall 2017, providing you every bit of information and making sure that you're connected along the way. So it has been an absolute pleasure. I will stay on the line for anyone who might want to have additional questions. So please send to me your email. And I have one more question. It says, for year-long, when do we sign up for PPAT? Caitlin, that is a great question. Here is another absolute side effect, benefit to the year-long residency and the PPAT, the exit performance assessment. You would not go through, you would not register, enroll, and administer the exam for PPAT until January of your residency, which would then give you September, October, November, and December to prepare and ready for the exam itself with the school, the children, and your knowledge of that environment for the examination itself. For example, and now I know I could probably ask Dr. Countley to speak up because Dr. Countley is online with us and she's working with the year-long residency candidates at Ritchie. And I know that those candidates right now have already completed their task 1. It's already done. Even though they don't have to submit it until January, it's already done. They are already that far ahead because they've spent that much time with the students already. So even though you don't have to take it in January, remembering that the PPAT per ETS, all of the examination questions are all online and have free access to everyone. You could go on to ETS right now, right, and download all the tasks and the rubrics. Absolutely. The beauty of the year-long residency is you're with the same children all year long. You know that school. You know the demographics. Your knowledge of the children are much more advanced. And Dr. Countley, would you like to add anything to that? she may not be with us, so she may have. All right. Anyway, but it's a good question. So I will stay on. Thank you all for joining me this evening. Like I said, I'll stay on for a little bit while if anybody
Mr.
has.
Wells, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, Dr.
Oh,
Cowan.
okay, fine. I had muted it and I forgot to turn it off.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay.
But yes, in terms of the PPAT, the first semester is really identified as Practicum 3. So we actually work them through the experience of PPAT so that they can be ready for the spring, January part of it. So that's part of practicum, that they have to go through the experience of doing a sample PPAT.
Correct. And in addition to that, if I may add, we also have established specific seminars that candidates such as yourselves, when you hit your spring semester, your January timeframe, you would engage in seminars with your university supervisors as well as other faculty within the PPAT tasks. So, does anyone else have any questions that I can answer? All right. Well, I want to thank you all. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Most of you, if not all, have my email. You can certainly reply and communicate via that way if you have additional questions. And I will stay online here for anyone who has questions. So thank you all for joining me. I do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a great week ahead of you.
Okay, Mr. Wells, when you get a moment, give me a buzz.
Thank you, Dr. Countley. I certainly will do that.
All right, bye-bye.
Mr. Wells, I have a question.
Certainly.
I might have missed this I think you talked about this earlier in the conversation, but am I taking my methods courses while I'm doing the year-long residency? So I will be working on, I will be having classes and my residency?
Yes, that's absolutely right. You will actually not go to the university campus for your methods courses. Your mentor teachers that you're assigned with at the school, they are your professors. They are your instructors of your methods courses. Think of it this way. If you're elementary level, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 4 methods courses: methods of math, methods of science, social studies, and ELA. Now, who better to teach you as an individual those core content areas? The mentor teacher is. They're the expert in the
I
field,
agree. Yeah.
right? And so that is where you will not have to go to campus physically anymore. Your mentor teacher is the one who is teaching, facilitating that methods course for you during the experience. This is called...
And I'm completing the methods work under that teacher.
That's right. That's right. We call this, it's called competency-based instruction, meaning we identify the competencies, we identify the standards, those things, okay, that are related to the methods courses. And that's right, what you said. Your mentor teacher, he works you through all of that while you're there at the schoolhouse.
I got you. And that is how I guess I would remain, for financial aid purposes, remain
that is
a
right.
full-time student, because I do have those, I'm registered for those credits.
That is right. You're still, and that's the other thing too, per your degree, your transcript, especially as an example, the state of Delaware, they look for on your transcript the methods courses. They look for student teaching.
Right.
And so it still is a course that you take that shows up in your transcript, which, as you know, that as you just expertly stated, it connects you to your financial aid.
Yes, and that's how I would survive the year of not working. I would need the financial aid if I had to quit my job. This has been so helpful, so thank you so much.
It has been my pleasure. Please don't hesitate to ask any additional questions. If something comes up, just shoot me an email.
All right. I already shot you an email to request more information.
Okay, very good.
You'll be seeing that. Thank you so much. Have a nice night.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Hi, Mr. Wells. I have a question.
Sure. Who is this?
Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. Good evening.
So my question is, I'm taking a pretty heavy course load in the spring semester, and I'm also planning to take 4 classes in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
If for some reason if I have to drop a class in the spring just because it is too much, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing well in it, I think I missed this earlier. Will I still be able to do the year-long residency and take,
Yes.
that one class? Okay.
Yes, we've done this before with other individual students. We have a student this particular semester who needed an additional course during the residency, and so they were not. We did not restrict them from completing the residency just because they had the additional course to take. It's going to happen. That's part of the accommodations and the flexibility of the College of Education that allows you to do so. So yes.
Okay, great. Because I'm already registered for all of the courses this spring, and I'm just kind of looking at the schedule and praying that I'm going to be able to do it.
I understand. Absolutely.
I've planned out all of my schedules already so that I'm able to do the residency. So I was just afraid that if something did happen and I needed to drop one of the classes, that I would still be able to do that.
I understand. Oh, no, very good. And the additional information that I'll be sending out to everyone who emails me their intent, their interest, I will detail to you, show you directly which courses you need and would be retaking during the fall and the spring of the residency, and other additional information that aligns to financial aid and answers a lot of questions such as what you're asking. So yes, that's fine, Leah.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Mr. Wells. I have a question for you.
Yes. Hello.
Hey, so I got the email I guess it was before registration, from Dr. Curry about the substitute courses as things are changing, and
Yes.
There was a list of, if you should take this, now you take this.
Yes.
When I was looking for those new courses, pretty much I had to have I'm kind of the same as the last person that just spoke. I'm taking a full load in the spring and taking 4 courses in the summer to try and qualify for the year-long program. The new list that was published, I could not find those to take in the summer.
Okay.
Are they not all offered at the same time?
They should be. Emily, would you do me a favor? Emily, right?
Yes.
Okay, good, because your name comes up on the screen, Emily, so I'm certainly hoping it was. Emily, would you do me a favor? Would you email me this evening that particular question? That way I can bring up your transcript via our systems in the morning, and I can review what you need, and that way we can identify where those courses will be for you. That way I can get you connected, and if it's not me, a good friend of mine who's an advisor at the Dover campus, Andrew Stratton. I don't know if you're familiar.
Okay.
He is excellent. He works with me often. Very good advisor. He and I will get that all aligned for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome, Emily. Have a good evening.
You as well.
All right, thank you. Kyra, I believe you had a question. Is there any sort of reduced tuition rate for doing the year-long residency? The answer is yes. It's not substantial, but it is a reduced rate. There is a little known fact per the state of Delaware with Wilmington University. There are 2 rates. If you go on to the WilmU website and you, inside the search engine per the site itself, type in tuition, you'll see that the Georgetown rate is the lowest rate. Meaning Newcastle is high, then there's Dover, then there's Georgetown. Now the lowest rate is the Dover Air Force Base. There's actually a rate for the Dover Air Force Base. Now, The only reason why that's the lowest of all rates is because the courses and the programs that are offered at the Dover Air Force Base are for military. Now, I'm attempting for fall 2017 to get the Dover Air Force Base rate, but if you log in there, you'll see the different rate. Now, it's not horrifically substantial, but it is, at least for those candidates who do the year-long residency, they are offered the Georgetown rate across the board for all candidates, no matter if they're Newcastle or Georgetown or New Jersey or wherever.
And that's for the whole year, for all the methods and everything?
That is correct. That's for the whole year.
Awesome.
Every single course that is assigned, yes, for the program. So Practicum 3, methods, clinical assessment, and student teaching, whether that's undergraduate or graduate, is at the Georgetown rate.
That's great.
It's like I said, it's not it's not this great big, not this huge difference, but it does make an impact. I mean, it is a couple of $100 left, which I mean,
when
right?
you're paying out of pocket, that makes
Exactly.
a difference.
Oh no, yes, trust me, I've been there. Oh boy, do I know. So yes, it does make an impact. Thank you, Kara. That was a great question. Are there any others? All right, so I see that we have Alicia and Emily and Caitlin and Emily and James. Are any questions that I can answer for you good people? Oh,